Hi, I'm Sarah Toa.
And I'm Michelle Wormser. Our topic is on Japan's decrease in youth population.
We are arguing that Japan's rapid decrease in youth population affects economic growth and support to provide for the elderly. The current population is over 126 million people. However, the youth ages 0 to 14 makes up only 12.8% of the population, compared to the elderly population ages 65 and over, which makes up 27% of the population. The elderly population contains more than double the amount of people compared to the younger generation.
The smallest percentage of the population is the age group 15 through 24, which contains 9.64% of the population. To put this in perspective, they will currently have to cover 3 times the amount to provide for a stable Social Security benefit. The average amount of children a woman would conceive in her lifetime is 1.4, and currently 7.7 live births out of 1,000. Japan is ranked 223 for one of the lowest childbirth rates out of 226 in the world. Looking to the future, the largest percent of the population is ages 25 through 54 at 37.5% of the population. The youngest population would have to provide more than 3 times the amount of workload to provide for their income. The National Institute of Population and Social Security Research suggests by 2050 the elderly population will have reached over 40% if nothing is done.
One factor creating this problem is Japan has a traditional culture of having the younger generation providing and taking care of the elderly. The current elderly dependency ratio is 42.7. Since many elders rely on their families for support and income, with a decreasing population, it will become increasingly harder for the younger generation to provide for their predecessors.
There's currently only 67.7 million people in the labor force, an extremely low percent. This affects the economy because there's less productivity in the workplace, meaning that there's less infrastructure being produced. This leads to a lower GDP. Japan only spends 10.2% of their GDP on health expenses. This means not a lot of support is used to provide for elderly benefits and for maternity and paternity care.
Another thing that affects a declining youth population is maternity leave is only 6 weeks before a woman gives birth and only 8 weeks after a woman gives birth. Over 70% of women quit their first job after having their first child, meaning only 30% return back to the workforce. Having most of the women not returning to their job decreases the work productivity and growth in the economy. Having less productivity in the economy means less revenue to produce to support the elderly population.
Many Japanese families often struggle to have a stable job due to free tiers, which are foreign workers who go in between jobs. Having a child might cause them to lose their job, which drives many women not to have a child.
Many young Japanese people are very focused on their jobs. Having a child would disrupt their advances to success in their careers. Recently, there have been less opportunities for men to have a stable job, since the belief is that a man should provide for the family. Less marriages happen, causing less births. Wages have remained constant, which makes it difficult to raise a family.
Suicide rates have increased with an average of 25,000 suicides a year. The suicides are mostly from the working class and the younger population, which have caused a decline to the population. They are not able to be productive and provide economic support for the elderly.
Currently, the Japanese government has a couple programs to provide for the youth population. Long-term care policies in 2000 have been made as an attempt to provide for the elderly. Maternity leave goes for 6 weeks before birth and 8 weeks after giving birth. However, during this time period, they are not paid. Their salaries are covered by social insurance. A parent will receive 2/3 of their salary after 8 weeks and up to 6 months of leave. After 6 months, the amount is reduced to 50%. There is child leave care for both parents up to the age of 1. It can be extended up to 14 months if both parents take leave, or 18 months if they are a single parent. Labor insurance covers child care services, although it has not been implemented yet. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has talked about including free preschool to allow for more daycare opportunities and encourage working people to support their families.
In 2009, Japan introduced a modified version of the New Angel Plan, which sought to encourage workers to use 100% of their paid leave. It decreased the amount of high work week hours, such as 60 or more. It increased the amount spent on childcare, and it reduced the number of free tiers. The policy helped many Japanese citizens find a stable job and have a financial amount to provide and start a family.
Some of our solution we believe will help increase Japan's youth population is to improve family environments by constructing larger housing at a more affordable cost. Selling large houses at affordable cost would allow more young married couples to want to expand and build a large family. A larger house would allow more relatives to live together, decreasing the amount spent on mortgage, and more could be spent on elderly support. We propose to offer more leave time and maternity care for up to 8 months after the birth to allow more women to return to their jobs more easily and encourage them to spend more time with their child. We will also increase paternity care up to 2 months after the birth. We also want to provide more daycare opportunities starting at a younger age, going until they reach schooling age, to allow more women and men to be productive in the workplace while their child is in care.
Japan should include tax breaks or child support and insurance policies to allow for more people to feel supported if they have a child. Increasing immigration would be a short-term solution, but it would allow for more people to perform in the workplace and be productive in the economy. This would allow more people to marry in with the population, increasing Japan's diversity and younger population. Lastly, there should be less stress on students and encourage support to prevent suicides in the workplace and in the younger population.
In conclusion, by increasing more child support care and maternity and paternity leave would encourage an increase in Japan's youth population, creating more people in the workplace, increasing productivity to the economy, and support for the elderly.
Thank you.
Oh.